Welcome to Let's Get Real
Estate.
We're your hosts, MaryAnne
And Ellie.
and we're creating a space to talk through some of the most important topics in life: career, parenthood, homeownership, community, and so much more.
We'll have honest conversations with each other and with guests as we learn and grow alongside one another.
We work at the #1 real estate company in Jacksonville, but we're invested in our community beyond the transaction. We hope to be a resource to you in your real estate goals and as working women.
Real women, real estate, real community, real life. Welcome back to the Let's Get Real Estate podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ellie, and I'm also here with MaryAnne and our good friend Tabatha. We wanted to bring you into this episode because we've been at home so much over the last year, and we know that so many of you are looking into do new projects, whether that means just painting a random room you've sat in for a while, now having to come up with a home office. There are just a lot of things that you're seeing, improving on, or maybe just wanting to change. So after the holidays, it's super fun to have awesome decorations up and celebrate a different season. But once you take all of that stuff down, you kind of lose the excitement of being in a fresh new space. So we wanted to talk about some projects that you can do that are both small or large to just refresh your space, start the new year, and something that feels exciting. So first, let's welcome in our guest, Tabatha. MaryAnne, you want to talk a little bit about how you know Tabatha?
Yes. So Tabatha is the plant lady to me. Like, that is how I would describe her. She is the owner of the Velvet Garden JAX, which is a new name, as she was the Prickly Pear JAX, yep. Right? Mm-hmm. And gosh, how did we meet? Where did we meet?
Probably because we were both in Springfield and it's such a small community. Somehow got ties that way, I think.
Yes. And we started off, I think I was interested in just like some of your small succulents and planters, and started kind of filling my house. Yep. Mm-hmm. You would leave them on my porch. I would text you and Instagram you with a million questions. And just got to know you that way, and got to know you on a personal level too. And we just want you to share a little bit about yourself, your business, your life.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I said, my name is Tabatha. I am the owner of the Velvet Garden JAX. We were priorly known as the Prickly Pear. That's where I started out. It's a fun name. I still really love the name, but I felt I was growing over the past few years, and my vision of what I want in the future, and the Velvet Garden just really seemed to fit that more accurately. I started out a little over 3 years ago on my kitchen floor in a 2-bedroom apartment. I had soil all over my floor everywhere. I was making succulent arrangements for my own personal self, and I ended up making so many. I was like, what am I going to do with these? So at the time I was bartending, I was like, you know what, let me bring them in here and see if the guests like them. And they did. And then I did a market there, and it kind of just rolled from there. And succulents is where I started out. Of course, I feel like that's a staple for anyone. You're like, ooh, what are these flowers that look like flowers forever?
Right.
And then I got really into cacti. I am still really into cacti. Okay. But then it moved on to, what are these rare tropicals? What is this indoor plant? And then I got my first little plant. I was like, what is this room now? It's amazing. And I really got drawn to the indoor plants. And once we moved from the apartment to an actual home, I had this beautiful, huge wraparound porch.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? I'm utilizing this. And this is Springfield. We love our porches. So I started doing plant sales there. And it just took off. And I was like, I'm doing this full time. And I've been full time at it for about 2 years now.
Amazing.
And the response from Jacksonville has been great. We've been on the up and up for plants, but we're there now, and I'm here for it. I'm excited.
I think we're all here for it.
Yeah,
right?
We're all here for
sure.
it.
Especially, from Root Realty.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very fitting.
Yeah, but I will say, I feel like that it's not just trendy anymore. It's people genuinely want to learn more. And just like you said, your business has grown so much that you feel like you're adapting and changing. People, it's not just like, let's do landscaping outside now. Like, it's become totally a part of your home.
Bring the outside in.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's such a variety too, right? Like you have, I'm sure, customers who are busy businesswomen or have families, and they don't have a lot of time to focus on plants, but they want them. And so you can probably guide them as to what makes sense. Or you have the people that work from home and can probably put a little more time into what's growing in and outside of their home. So I think there's just such a variety of people, I'm sure, that you meet.
Very much so is.
Yeah. And I feel like even beyond that, like, there's like gardens at Home Depot or Target where you can just be like mass produced and see everything that there is to offer. But people have kind of gone away from, let's just do the same old that we've already done. So to have like a local resource who's not just telling you like, oh yeah, here's some cool things that you can maybe buy, but actually how to take care of it and see it bloom. Like people get invested in it beyond just the fact that like
they're different than what you can get at the typical garden store. And the care that comes on all of those garden plants, it's not always the same.
Yeah.
It's really not. I don't really ever go by those because we all have different houses. We all live in different climates. And so I don't ever go by those.
Yeah. I need you to teach me so much. So much. I mean, being like the fact that I'm supposed to take care of plants even at root.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Literally part of her job.
Literally part of my job.
I got you.
Yeah, I need you on an everyday basis. Okay, so let's get to know you just like a little bit better on Random Front with our rapid fire questions. So let's talk all things refreshing. First of all, your most refreshing drink.
Most refreshing drink, coffee. I do have to have my coffee in the morning, but if it was most refreshing, if I close my eyes, I'm going to think of a Coca-Cola, an ice cold Coca-Cola in a glass bottle after like a salty piece of pizza.
Oh,
hey,
that's it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I would say actually most refreshing drink that comes to mind in the most time-fitting manner would be a drink that my girlfriend made this weekend, which was like a twist on a Paloma, and it had sparkling water on top.
Ooh.
With a jalapeno kick.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer.
I'm weak sauce. I can't do jalapenos.
Anything spicy.
Lame.
That was a lot better answer than mine.
No, I pictured yours.
Like,
I pictured yours.
Definitely refreshing for like the mood, the weekend, all of that. I'm always a margarita. Like you just can't go wrong with a margarita.
I'm the same.
But if I'm like just thinking of like same thing, close my eyes. Honestly, I'm still a fan of lemonade. Like it just really is refreshing. Ice cold lemonade in Florida.
They always have the lemonade stands, and when I see one, I got to go to one.
You're so right.
My son has one like literally every weekend.
That's really cute.
If you ever need to find it,
you can do a joint market.
I love that.
And he hand squeezes everything.
Wow.
It's the
No Minute Maid stuff. Yeah.
Literally.
Okay. Love it. Okay. What about most refreshing time of day for you?
Oh, most refreshing time of day. I had such a chaotic day. I have, 4 dogs, 2 bunnies, kid, fiance, business. Oddly, 3:30.
Okay.
For some reason, so my mornings start pretty early because we have the howling of the dogs.
Right.
They're bougie. We have to literally make their food. They're so bougie. They won't eat it. It was my fault. I did that.
Yeah.
So I would say 3:30. It's like a perfect time where it's like right before my fiance would wrap up work, and I would kind of wrap up all of like the responsibilities, and I'm able to like sit down and relax for a little bit. And then I'm like, all right, it's go time. So I get a little bit more energy, and I'm like, all right, now I can get the things I need done around the house and get this done and focus more on paperwork for my business or whatever it is.
Like revive for the second half.
Yeah. It's such a great thing. Like I have to have responsibilities that I have to take care of. I have to get my boat moving in the morning.
Yep.
But by the time it's all said and done, 3:30. For some reason, every day at 3:30, I'm like, all right, now I can take a break and refresh and have that pizza and Coca-Cola and go on with my day.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a little stereotypical here and say the morning before my family wakes up is probably the most refreshing for me. I'll often meditate, do a prayer, drink my coffee, and it may only be 5 minutes before the chaos ensues, but it's that time for myself that I just feel like, okay, let's do this for the day.
It's an important time. The morning is always, for me, the most stressful. As soon as I wake up, like, it's just, what do I need to do today? And it just starts running through my mind. So having that moment for yourself, especially meditating, all that, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's great.
I would say in the evening, I'm definitely more of a night owl. Sunset. Like, just watching the sunset is something that's so peaceful to me. My favorite spot is like down by the river or on the beach. But there's something about like, okay, I've made it.
Yeah.
And there are other things, like you said, I might still have to focus on because we're hustling all the time. But like, there's a moment of pause where like, okay, you've done good work throughout the day. Yeah. Okay. So what about how often do you refresh your hair?
My hair. Well, this actually isn't my hair. This is Bellamy extensions. They're great. So 3 years ago, before I started this business, I actually had crazy hair all of the time and literally had to refresh my hair once a week.
Oh my gosh.
And then the last 3 years, not so much. I sweat a lot. I'm in the dirt a lot. Those vivid colors was just not working for me. I would sweat purple down my face. So I went back to my natural color and it works for me. And I kind of embraced the gray. Not going to lie, I'm still going to dye it.
Oh, yeah.
But refresh my hair, I would say at least once every 2 months. I know that's kind of out there, and I cut my own hair. So I do all of that. I actually went to hair school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You know, plants.
Just a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades.
I love it.
Yep.
I would say I'm similar, probably once every 8 weeks, but I don't do a whole lot of different.
Yeah, same. I'm like Miss Consistent. Every time I go to see my girl London, she's like, so what are we doing? I'm like, literally the same thing.
I think I actually went to hair school with London.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah, she was a class above me.
Okay, how many times do you refresh your Instagram feed? Be honest.
Oh, goodness. I had to turn my notifications off. It was just overwhelming. Yeah. At least 30 times a day. It has to be at least 30 times a day. All of my work, I don't even have a personal social media anymore because I'm so involved with social media for my work and my business because that's the way to go these days.
Right.
And I'm just continuously refreshing. I don't want to miss a message or, if I have a giveaway or if I'm even selling, it pushes everything so far down. I have to seek and look for things. So I'm constantly refreshing to make sure I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just came off about a 10-day sabbatical from social media, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So before that, I was checking it I way more than I want to admit. But my goal is and for the last 48 hours, I've been working it into like my actual work schedule because mine is very work-based. And my goal is to stick to about 3 times a day. So definitely trying to minimize that screen time.
Love that. Yeah. I refresh mine. I can't even say how many times because I run multiple social media accounts for businesses, myself, like all of that. So not only am I just like refreshing it to see my stuff, like you said, business wise, I'm like on it because I have like 4 different accounts. So
and there's no like time frame for it. Like people are going to contact you at 10 a.m. They're going to contact you at 12 a.m.
It's so true. Yeah. Well, especially because your sales are so driven through Instagram too. It's like a customer service thing at that point.
It is.
Yeah. So I can't even tell you how many, but it's definitely a necessity sometimes.
It's a necessity.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to bring it home and talk a little bit about refreshing your home, refreshing your spaces, maybe some DIY projects. So first, MaryAnne is the renovations guru. What are some projects that you really can do that add the most value?
Yeah, so I think when people think about home renovations, they think of gutting an entire kitchen or redoing a master bath, which don't get me wrong, those projects definitely do add financial value. But I think for a lot of people, especially over the past year and a half, have really focused on more minimal projects that don't cost a lot of money, but do make a big difference in a room or a space. A couple of those are painting, right? Painting can change the whole dynamic of a room. We've seen a lot of people do a combination of paint, DIY wallpaper, stencils. I just had a wall that I did in our entryway that a lot of people think was wallpaper, but it was something I just wanted to do on a random day to refresh our entryway space, and it cost about $15 to do.
And wallpaper is so much more accessible now.
It is.
Because it's literally just like stick on.
I wouldn't peel and stick.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust myself with it because Straight Lines and I were not friends, but like it's not like such a process or you have to hire professionals anymore.
It's very DIY. We're seeing a lot of people update, and this goes along with Tabatha, their front door space. So whether it's their porch or changing out the hardware on their front door, adding a wreath, adding live greenery, we're seeing that makes such a difference in curb appeal. And really beyond that too, I think just a lot of people, of course, are working from home and they don't want a typical office space. They want something cute. They want something that they're comfortable in. So we're seeing a combination of, adding plants, adding cool storage and organizational tools to their office space, but also making it comfortable and a place where they can work for 8 to 10 hours a day. So really focus less on big renovations. Of course, I have my share in those too, but we've seen a lot more minimalist renovations going on in the last really year.
Right. And it's really kind of how you define value too, because it could be the value of your space because you're going to be living in it for a while. So like you said, the office space, like if it's something where you have 8 meetings in a day, like I'm just thinking of my friends who are in really busy season and they have to do everything on Zoom to refresh that office space so it doesn't feel like I'm just headed into this same exact spot with just all of the monitors.
Well, you can always add the mountain background on your Zoom or the beach, but like you're mixing things up.
But you need stuff like in your space that's going to refresh it. But then there's also the value piece that if you are looking to sell in the next year, or something that like what is going to attract a buyer, what's going to give you kind of that edge on the market as well.
And that's important to keep in mind too. So even if you're customizing your home space or your home office, thinking about if you are going to be in the market in the next couple of years, is this something that other people would appreciate? Or is it so custom to you that it may be something you have to go back to normal on before you hit the market? And that's where a great agent comes into play. They can help you determine, hey, this is how we can make this more attractive to more buyers, or no, this totally works in this space and I think you should keep it this way.
Yeah. Awesome. So, I mean, are there any other things that you would think, like when I think refreshing a space, that this is what comes to the top of my mind?
Yes. I think rugs. I think pillows.
Oh, yeah.
I think changing out light fixtures. I think changing out knobs in kitchens and bathrooms. I think these are affordable ways to make a space look entirely different. Mm-hmm. Perfect example, I saw a kitchen one time with very builder grade knobs, right? They came with the cabinets. They were your basic silver circles. And we switched those out for a kind of like a modern industrial black, very sleek knob and handle, and what a difference. It looks like a $10,000 upgrade that was actually $100.
Yeah.
So those sorts of things are, changing out faucets can make a big difference. You've got the builder grade, chrome that maybe the house came with. You switch it out for a cool gold or a black matte. Totally changes the space.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So now let's get into it with Tabatha, because that is a huge piece, like making, like we said, value-wise, like adding value personally.
Right.
But also there's a lot of value that having a lot of plants in your space adds to your life. So how do plants add to your space?
Yeah, I was glad that you actually mentioned the value, like your personal value.
Right.
And that really plays into like your space with plants, because instead of, having in a corner this, $200 fancy vase that may be on a garage sale 4 years from now, you have these plants, it's completely different to you and your life and your space.
Mm-hmm. How do those plants really add to your space?
To my space, well, okay, so we were talking about minimalism.
Yes.
I had started out with, so we don't have any surface spaces. We don't have end tables. We don't have any of that stuff. Plus, of course, I mentioned the 4 dogs. So it's just easier because one's 200 pounds and he'll just knock everything over.
Right.
So with my space, it started out minimalistic and I was like, ooh, this looks good. And now it's a jungle. It really adds to the value of our home. It adds to our everyday life. It's just so beautiful. It's bringing the outside in. It just makes you happy.
Yeah.
It just makes you happy. And, if you're doing a tour of a home that you're selling or anything like that, they don't bake cookies anymore for that cookie smell. They're going to decorate that house with plants because people are like, ooh, and it just brings a sense of happiness to you.
Right.
And it also it can make a space look completely different. And if you have high ceilings, if you put a plant up there and you kind of manipulate a vine and do something cool with it, it's going to bring and open up that space. And you're going to be like, wow, these ceilings are so tall and this and that. And there's so many different types. You can have a big bird of paradise and just what it adds to that room.
Yes.
You then keep going. You're hooked.
Yeah.
That's where it starts and you're hooked.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, I think it's cool too, Tabatha, especially with how you've grown in your business. So, there's a lot of neutral templates out there right now, right? So a lot of neutral paint, a lot of neutral flooring, neutral furniture. So plants bring this pop of color.
Oh, yes.
Whether it's variations of greens or, I've bought plants from you that flower and you do have your pinks, your yellows, your reds. And I just think that has almost become a way for color to come back into homes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's so many different types of foliage out there. And that's really it's kind of a part of my business. If you look at the types of plants that I have, and going back to what not only like you were saying customize for yourself when you see a house, like this is going to be something that everyone wants. And I try to keep that in mind too with my customers. Like I get stuff that calls to me, but I'm like, what's going to call to everyone else?
Right.
And these fun colors, they just attract anyone. You can have pink pinstripes and white. There are plants that actually have like bioluminescence and glitter in it. Nature is just absolutely crazy and amazing.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that draws us into it is like seeing this plant and you're like, this is real.
Right.
You're like, yeah, that's real. And you're like, wow. And the colors, like I said, you can have pink, you can have purple. There's iridescent blue that glows blue at night. And these are just indoor plants that I have in my home in Jacksonville, Florida.
Gosh, that's so cool. Okay, so you've talked a little bit about like aesthetically, kind of some of the benefits. Are there any health benefits to having plants?
Yes, absolutely.
Full of your house.
So we all know that it boosts air quality. That's something that we hear all of the time, air quality, air quality. Right. It also can reduce the dust in the room to up to 20% in those particles.
Wow. Love to hear that.
Yes, and along with it makes you dust your plants, but yes, it can reduce the dust up to 20% in your room.
Wow.
But along with that type of health benefits, I think the biggest health benefit is your mental health.
Right.
So, I mean, there's hospitals for children all over that are now doing green spaces. It just helps motivate them. It's a stress reliever. It helps with anxiety. You know, it used to be gardening outdoors. We would hear how that's a stress reliever. It's the same thing for your indoor plants and watching them grow and being a part of them and learning about them, motivating you to do something than just sit there, especially this past year when it's very easy to do that sometimes. Or if you do have really high anxiety and you're go all the time, well, go on your plants, check them for pests, clean them, prune them up. You know, it always keeps you busy.
Right.
So there's always a really good effect with that.
Yeah, and there's a balance there too, because we'll talk about this in a second, because clearly I know I need all the advice, but like a lot of the indoor and rare plants that you have in your collection that you're, you know, selling to people are both and like low maintenance, but there are, like you said, like a little bit of it gives you purpose. Like there's something else in your home rather than the vase that sits on the same table forever and ever and ever. You're like checking in and seeing something come to life or thrive.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it really like it does something for you. Yeah.
And you can talk to about friends. Like that's the great thing. You know, we've kind of come apart a little bit this past year. We don't get to see each other as much. This is a way that we can be like, oh, what new plant did you get? And you can propagate your plant so that you can trade off. And it's something to safely have an interest in with your friends and still be able to have something new and exciting in these times to talk about.
I love that. Okay, so you mainly work with indoor foliage and rare plants. What are some of your seasonal favorites?
Seasonal favorites. Oh, it's like choosing a child, and you can't do that. So all of them obviously are my favorites. I'm going to say right now, because we're in the fall, winter time, begonias. Okay. Begonias come around. I am known for having a lot of begonias. Okay. They have the most striking foliage. You can have black, which honestly is one of my favorites. So I have the black mamba begonia. These actually grow in nature in rainforest, and they grow kind of up the canopies, like in the trees, because the top canopy blocks kind of the light. So to photosynthesize, they have this iridescent blue glow, and they bounce that reflection off the top of the canopy to photosynthesize. And it's insane that they can do that.
Yeah, right.
But they're way more advanced than we are.
Yeah. Who knew plants were
yeah. But begonias, when they come out this time of year, I get super, super excited because they like the more cold weather. They don't like to be super hot. Right. And you can have velvety ones. There are pinks, purples, silver. They sparkle in the sun. They change color. They're amazing. I love them. They're like a sunset.
Beautiful.
Gosh. Oh, so then clearly I need one.
Yes, it's a refreshing plant.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. So a lot of people, their biggest concern is, I don't want another thing to take care of.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite low maintenance?
That or they kill plants.
Yes.
Most commonly heard.
Have you seen that meme that's like, do you want to come home with me? Just like so I can kill you?
Right.
It's
exactly.
Me, y'all. Yeah. It's me. It's
not
so
you.
bad.
I really want people to know it's not them. I kill plants. I kill plants all the time. Like I wasn't born with a green thumb. Like this comes from teaching myself, learning the plants. Yeah. And it takes time. So.
I will say, like, I just don't feel like I have the green thumb or the instinct. Yeah. Which is not a good thing when
I'm
it's
not
part
arguing.
of it.
There are plants out there for you too.
Thank you. Thank you. This is what I need. Okay, so what are some good ones?
So some good ones. And I want to say like beginner plants, but remember when I say beginner plants and these are easy to take care of, low maintenance, that means low maintenance. So, look at them and love them, but low maintenance. Don't overwater them. There are magically plants where you only have to water them every 3 to 4 weeks, or like cacti where it's every 2 months. It's like very minimal.
That's what I'm into.
Leave them alone. They're good. A lot of Dieffenbachia or dump cane family, they have striking foliage and they're really thick and they can go in a corner of a room. They can have low light and those only get watered like every 3 weeks. It's super, super easy.
Okay.
Another big one that's making a huge comeback right now are aglaonemas. They're also known as Chinese evergreen.
Oh.
There's so many different species. They have just shiny, beautiful, striking foliage and there's all these cool hybrids coming out now. And some will have like white stems and it's called peacock and it'll have like a camouflage minty green leaf with dots.
Wow.
And there's pink, there's a sparkling Sarah, there's the tropic MaryAnne, there's so many different ones. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's the Dieffenbachia for the tropic MaryAnne. But for the aglaonema, sparkling Sarah. And then everyone knows Sansevieria. That's usually where everyone begins. Well, actually succulents, but they kill them because they don't like to be bothered and they actually need a lot of sun. So people who have their succulents indoors, they'll see them stretching and doing different deals and whatever else. So aglaonema has to be my favorite right now. I have some with pink on it, splatter. I have a silver one. I have an all white one that has like this cool black line through it. Oh, I just have a whole space that's just all aglaonema every day. And it used to be the basic house plant in the 70s and an office plant for low light and low care, but it's back and it's hot and it's super easy for beginners.
Oh, love that. And like you talked about, like it refreshes your space in a huge way to have something that beautiful, but then you don't even really have to think about it all that much.
No.
Let me ask you this. What do you think when people buy plastic fake plants?
Oh, gosh.
Does it just kill you a little bit inside?
You know, I understand it for certain things because I notice it in everything I watch now. I watch Seinfeld and I'm like, that plant in the hallway, there's no window, that has to be fake. I think it's just disheartening when I go somewhere and I'm like, wow, look at that plant. And I'm like, and I touch it and I'm like, oh, just kidding, that's fake. They did a really good job on that.
Right.
So I'm not a fan of them. I understand them. No, I do not. I do not own any. Maybe there might be a fake flower on the tip of a pen that I use or something, but no, all real here.
Yeah. No, you'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the Velvet Garden.
I know. I am the Velvet Garden.
Okay. So how many is too many?
How many is too many? Oh, if you ask my fiance that, he'd probably have a different answer. I think it's according to you. I don't think it's how many is too many in general. I think it's how many is too many for you at that time. Pace yourself. It's really easy to start realizing these amazing plants and go from 1 to 20 in literally 2 weeks.
Right.
It happens.
Guilty
it really does.
as charged.
Yeah. And although they need like all the basic same kind of familiar care, they are still each a little different. Each are, prone to a particular pest and there's this and that. And so I tell people, build a relationship with a few, like 1 to 3 plants, build a relationship with them, figure out what they need, what they want, and then move on and add to your collection. And like you were saying, some people work from home, some people don't. And it can be very time consuming. It's a part of my everyday, so I don't really realize how much time until I go out of town and I come back and I'm like, well, you really missed me. Yeah, that was only 3 days. What's going on? But it is time consuming. I do spend a part of every single day, minimum an hour, checking plants, looking at them, loving them, but cleaning them. There's just so much that goes in with it.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you have the time for those as well. So me working with plants as a business and being home, working from home and having, 400 plus plants in my house.
400 plus.
Yes, I am safe because, it can get stressful when I go around and I'm cleaning. My daughter loves to help me clean the leaves and we polish them and do all that, which is also great family time.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, it's not too many. It's however many is right for you and what you can handle.
Yes.
But I say get as many as you want.
Oh,
and buy them from you.
And buy them from me. Yes.
Well, but even you just started small with arranging a few succulents,
I started
and now
small.
You're up to a garden.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. In my house.
Yeah,
a garden
so true.
in my house.
So true. Okay, so now let's get to the root of it all. What would be your top 3 takeaways?
Yeah. So first one being that, all in all, refresh doesn't mean redo. It means you can make small changes that make a big difference. And specifically today, we're talking about plants. Plant health benefits. I had no idea all of the things that plants can do for you. They boost air quality, reduce dust in the room, obviously help with mental health, reduce anxiety. I didn't know that they're being put in children's hospitals. I think that's amazing. And lastly, that plants can give you as a person, they can give a space and they can give your home purpose. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from today.
I agree. Well, Tabatha, tell everyone, where can they follow you? Where can they buy your plants, learn from you, all of the above?
So as we were saying earlier, most of it's social media. So I am on Instagram. It is the Velvet Garden JAX, JAX. Right now, currently, we are doing Saturdays at Riverside Arts Market. We will not be there for February. We're going to be doing other markets, but then starting in March, we will be there every single Saturday.
Awesome.
Just slinging the plants, bringing the plant game to a home near you.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And we do it online too. I do online sales, and we offer delivery for the following week, and we work that out with each person.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And really, you got to jump on them fast, because I feel like the amount of times I see you post something and talk about refreshing your Instagram feed, I'm like, by the time I go to comment, your caption is already like, sold. Gone.
Yeah. Have you seen like Kermit the Frog gift that's like this? Yeah. That's like me when I'm doing it. I'm just like here and I'm here and I'm here. I'm like, let me check this person. Go back and go.
Yes.
Like,
Let me just say the delivery piece is key though, because I bought this I'm exaggerating, but like 50-pound cacti from you.
Oh,
and I picked it up by myself one day. And finagling
I saw you as you were leaving. I was like, I feel so bad.
I got pricked about 10 times. Spilled over, dirt everywhere. So I'm going to let you do that this time.
Remember when I brought
it's worth the $5.
those 3 fiddles in the back of my car?
It's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother ball game.
It is. Okay, well, we'll make sure to link to your Instagram.
Yeah.
So everyone can follow you and purchase all of their rare and exotic plants.
I'm ready.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you everyone for listening to this episode. If you are more of a visual person, you can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to this show, and also share it with your friends. Maybe someone who needs a refresh in their space, or someone you know who loves plants and needs to get them from the expert herself. And then tune in Wednesday, February 17th for our next episode about how to effectively manage your time with Leah Miller. You're going to love it and you'll learn a lot. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.